So today we are going to study the topic that is squint. It is also called as strabismus. In the picture you can see that the boy is having a deviation in the eye, and that condition is called as a squint. Now the definition of squint. It is a condition when one eye deviates always from the fixation point. It is called as squint. Further going to the classification. In classification, if you see, first variety, that is latent squint. It is also called as heterophoria. Now latent squint means there is tendency for the eye to deviate from its normal relative position as soon as the corrective fusion reflex is withdrawn by dissociating binocular vision. So whenever there is dissociation in the binocular vision, the latent squint will be produced. Another variety is apparent squint. Apparent squint is a squint in which person appears to have a squint but visual axis is normally directed. And the another variety is manifest squint, or it is also called as heterotropia. Another variety is that is concomitant squint and non-concomitant squints. Concomitant squint is a deviation that is the same present in all the direction of the gaze, and non-concomitant squint, that is deviation varies in different direction of the gaze. Now further look, if you look at the concomitant squint, it can be a uniocular, means it is present in the one eye, and it can be a constant or intermittent, and a concomitant squint can be a alternating squint. Further, the uniocular squint can be a convergent. When the eye is in the convergent direction, squint is in the convergent direction. Another variety when the squint is divergent, or a vertical squint. Alternating squint can be further divided into convergent squint and a divergent squint. Now the another condition when the eyes are aligned, means when there is no squint, it is a condition that is called as a orthophoria. So eyes retain their normal position even when their activity is dissociated by withdrawal of controlling influence of fusion, that is called as orthophoria. That means the eyes are aligned. Now we will see the first condition, that is a heterophoria, or it is also called as a latent squint. So what happens in the heterophoria? In this condition, when the balance of extraocular muscles is imperfect due to the intrinsic weakness of one or more of the extraocular muscles, and there is tendency for the eye to deviate from its normal relative position as soon as the corrective fusion reflex is withdrawn by dissociating binocular vision, that results into the heterophoria. Generally the deviation is not manifest because the weak muscle is made to overwork in order to maintain normal position for the interest of binocular vision, but there is tendency for deviation becomes manifested by only dissociation test. So whenever there is a manifestation only due to the dissociation test, the squint develops, it is called as a heterophoria. So now let us see the types of heterophoria. The first variety is esophoria. In esophoria there is deviation of eyeball inwards. So first variety is esophoria and there is deviation inwards. Second variety, that is exophoria. Exophoria means there is tendency of the deviation of the eyeball outwards, that is called as exophoria. The third variety, that is hyperphoria, tendency of the eyeball to deviate upwards, that is called as hyperphoria. Fourth variety, that is hypophoria, in which there is tendency for deviation downwards, that is called as hypophoria. The fifth variety, that is cyclophoria, in which there is tendency for rotation of the eyeball round the fixation axis. And the sixth variety, that is anisophoria, where there is deviation of eyeball varies with direction of the gaze. Now let us see the etiological factors of heterophoria. In that, first there are certain predisposing factors like ill health, fatigue of eyes due to overwork, certain occupations like watchmaking that may result at, or conditions that may result into the production of a heterophoria. Certain exciting factors, in that the first factor, that is the age. In infancy, generally binocular reflexes are weak, so there is tendency of deviation outwards. So in infancy it may be exciting factor resulting into the condition producing a exophoria. In childhood, accommodation and convergence reflexes are very powerful, so there is tendency for deviation of eyeball inwards, so it may result into the production of a esophoria. In presbyopic age, the near point of distinct vision recedes, the convergence becomes weak, and as there is tendency for deviation of eye outwards, it may result into the production of exophoria. So these are the certain age wise exciting factor that may result into the heterophoria. The second exciting factor, that is influence of refraction. So in case of hypermetropia, there is tendency for esophoria, and in myopia there is tendency for exophoria. The third factor, that is anatomical defects in the muscles, fascia, ligaments, or in bony orbit, that may also work as an exciting factor in production of heterophoria. The fourth factor, that is organic muscular or nervous diseases like neurosyphilis, disseminated sclerosis, or myasthenia gravis, that may also work as an exciting factor in production of heterophoria. Now let us see the symptoms. So when the ability to overcome the imbalance of the ocular muscles become impaired due to ill health or ocular fatigue or mental worries and anxieties or advancing age, the symptoms will appear. So what are the symptoms? One is headache or aching in the eyes. That will be result from prolonged use of eyes. There may be a blurring of print or jumbling of words together. That may be the another symptoms. Intermittent diplopia due to the intermittent squint. That are the symptoms of a heterophoria. Now let us see how the diagnosis of heterophoria is done. There are different methods. One is by cover test, second is by Maddox rod, third is by Maddox wing, and fourth is by use of synoptophore. So let us see first test, that is a by cover test. As you can see here in the picture, the eye is covered, and that is why it is called as a use of covering the eye, and that is why it is called as a cover test. Now what is done in this test? One eye is covered and the other eye is made to fix on an object. So if there is heterophoria, the eye under the cover will deviate. The cover is then quickly removed and the eye which was under cover is watched. As soon as you will remove the covered eye corrects the deviation and regains its normal position quickly. So only the squint will appear when the eye is covered when you are made the patient to fix the vision on one object. So cover test should be done with and without the spectacles, both for near and distant objects. The second method of a diagnosis of a heterophoria, that is by using the Maddox rod. You can see in the picture here, that is the instrument called as a Maddox rod. In this, what is done? The patient looks at a light point at a distance of 6 meters. A Maddox rod is held in front of one of the eyes. The eye with the Maddox rod sees the point light as a red straight line light at right angle to the axis of the rod. Thus the images of the light point in the two eyes become dissimilar and fusion becomes dissociated. By placing the Maddox rod in the different meridians, iso, exo, hypo or hyperphoria can be detected. Maddox rod test can be done for near as well as distant vision. Now you can see in the picture here, the Maddox rod is put in the left eye. Now if the the position of eye is normal, means there is orthophoria. The point of light as well as the red line of the light, that will be seen in the same line, so that is called as a orthophoria. In case of esophoria, the red line will be deviating towards the left side, and in the exophoria the red line will be deviating towards the right eye. So that is how the diagnosis of the heterophoria can be done. Now the third method is by use of Maddox wing. It is a device to find out heterophoria at a distance of 33 cm from the eye. Through the two slits of instruments, one eye see white numerical numbers in horizontal line and other see the vertical white arrow underneath the white numbers. So you can see here the two slits through which the patient will see. Here the horizontal white numericals, and underneath that there may be a arrow, white arrow. In orthophoria, the arrow is seen underneath the number 0. Means if there is a orthophoria, the white arrow will be under the 0. But in heterophoria, the arrow deviates either outwards or inwards. Means the arrow will deviate either outward or inward. Similarly, the red numerical numbers in the vertical line and red horizontal arrow. So if you want to see the vertical deviation of the eye, that can be seen in these red numbers. If there is vertical deviation of the eye, the arrow is seen either above or below the number 0. The fourth method is by use of Synoptophore. It is a useful instrument particularly to detect all the varieties of squint and state of binocular vision. Now coming to the treatment part of the heterophoria. The first treatment, that is if there is refractive error, it must be corrected. Second treatment, that is a orthoptic treatment, means vision therapy, or you can say eye exercise to increase the fusional range and muscle power, is done with a Synoptophore. And the third treatment, that is operative treatment, by which the weak muscle is strengthened or its antagonist is made weaker. Thank you.